3, 2, 1.
What's up? Before I start this podcast,
Chingo.
Fools and Ghouls, motherfuckers, October 29th, from 9 to midnight at season 3. We just dropped some merch today. We've got sick ass long sleeves for $35. We have a very limited edition print, 11 by 17 for $10. Any purchase will come with a wristband to Fools and Ghouls. And we also have bundles for $40. Dress code is all black or costume required. Who are we here with today?
The culture vultures here.
With the culture vultures. Yeah. I just met y'all a few days ago. Roy and I and Bradley over there, B-Rad, we were guests on y'all's podcast. Yes. So do y'all kind of want to refresh the
tables and turn?
Yeah. Now y'all talk about yourselves.
My name is Dylan, host of Culture Vultures podcast. We had them on a few days ago. Honestly, it was probably one of our better ones, I'd say.
It was so much fun.
Really fun. Yeah, it was fun to have another podcast too, for sure on there. I guess I'll introduce myself too. Before we just jump into it, my name's Kobe. Say probably the star of Culture Vultures.
It's debatable.
Pull the mic closer to you. You got to actually talk like directly into it. You can extend.
Yeah.
There you go.
Is that about close enough?
Yeah. Cool. Make sure like this is. There you go. You can twist it a little bit. There you go. Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
There we go. I'm so used to having it like way down here.
You actually got to be like up on these.
Be like up pretty close on it.
I remember like Bradley and even Roy were like, but hell yeah. So if people want to get on your podcast, what kind of guests are you looking for? Like, who do you guys really want to
We really just focus on everything like happening in pop culture at the moment. Just anything from music, entertainment, fashion, sports. So anyone that's in that sort of realm, we'd love to have on. So this is pretty much what we're focused on right now.
And we'll chat a little bit more about that too here in a minute. I'm sure the conversation will flow into pop culture. Film is pop culture as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
A few episodes ago, what episode is this? 15?
Yeah.
15? 15/16. A few episodes ago, back in March, we did a review over X. Okay. Have y'all seen X?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, at this point, man, I don't know. All three of us saw X in Dallas, and besides Barbarian, I think it's my favorite horror movie of 2022 so far.
That's crazy that came out in 2022 and now Pearl's already here.
Yeah.
I heard the third one was coming out in 2022 as well.
2023.
2023.
Really?
Yeah, I think we get a little break. Yeah.
So X is Ty West's. He directed it. It's a slasher. It's based in the 70s in Texas, very heavily inspired by Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Heavily.
Pearl which is what we're reviewing today, is the prequel to it. But when they were shooting X, they like immediately shot the prequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just straight into it.
Yeah. Gotcha. So it's like as soon as like they were like releasing X, Pearl was already in post-production. So like they were already, and then they had already planned. So Ty West apparently came to A24, pretty much telling them like, I have a film, but it's a trilogy, and they kind of were like, oh, great, let's do it. So I really, really loved X because I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre so much, but it had a really different structure for a slasher. And I think I really liked that with like the whole like sexual freedom thing. Definitely. And it kind of like all the tropes that we were kind of used to kind of got flipped, and that's really why I loved it so much. So hearing about Pearl immediately, that was like opening night. I was out there. And I want to say they really don't compare, but they do complement each other.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, honestly, because I was expecting, I kind of went into Pearl knowing it was a prequel to X, but I didn't really do too much research into it other than that. So I was expecting more of the same from X, but I think they did a really good job of making it different. And
I feel like I blindly went into it also, just knowing how much I was obsessed with X. I kind of wanted to go in blind. So I almost expected it to be a slasher too, but it's almost like a melodrama or like a horror drama or something.
Is it crazy to say it's just a coming of age story?
Pretty much. And like, okay, I went with my friends Thita and Israel, and during the movie I literally leaned over to her and I was like, she's literally just a horse girl. I mean, and it was just really cool because I want to say he did film this during like the peak of the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And this film is set during the Spanish flu pandemic. Was that the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm just putting like a fucking.
That's what I think. That's it.
You definitely see a lot of the same politics.
Yeah. And so I feel like they really mirrored each other really well. And I feel like even it's like I said, like how the two films complement each other. I feel like they really had like a lot of the same narratives like with their characters.
Exactly.
Pearl is kind of a brat. I feel really bad for her, but I feel like none of the characters were bad characters either, you know? So it was really, and I feel like that's kind of what X did, is like, we kind of assumed like Brittany Snow's character, you know, because she was the bimbo was, you know, gonna die.
Yeah,
or even like Scott, you know, like Kid Cudi and stuff like that. But just kind of the way that it flowed was like really cool. And I feel like this was kind of the same way. You said both of y'all have watched both.
Yeah, we've seen both of them. Yeah.
What were y'all's thoughts on Pearl?
So I loved Pearl. I think I liked X a little bit more.
Same.
I think more just because, like you said, I love the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's so on the nose, like an homage to that movie.
Yeah.
And I usually just like more gory films, so X was a little bit more like slasher gory.
Yeah.
But not to take anything away from Pearl, I love Pearl as well.
Yeah, like Pearl is just like a really good standalone, honestly, and I don't think it really matters if you watched X or not.
Yeah.
Because either way, they're just going to complement really well. I do want to say the way it's shot is beautiful. They shot it in Technicolor.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and apparently Ty West's original idea was for it to be shot in black and white, and A24 shot it down.
Oh, damn.
Really?
Yeah, so his original intention was to make it a black and white film.
I feel like that would have been so much more cooler.
Like it probably would have also been really sick, but also I feel like the Technicolor kind of gives it like a really fucked Mary Poppins vibe.
For sure. I was gonna say I think I liked the color because it was so
like a Gone with the Wind like type of like just weird. It was almost like, have you guys ever seen this film called Escape from Tomorrowland?
No. I haven't seen that one.
It's like it's based in Disney World or like a.
You know what? I have seen it. Yes.
Yeah, and it's a black and white film, but it's a very, very demented horror film. It's awful. It's like a bad acid trip in Disneyland. And that's kind of what Pearl was like, because it was like this very positive like Southern feel and blah blah blah, but also it's like her dad is forever fucked from getting the Spanish flu, and her mom is pretty much a Nazi sympathizer.
Yeah.
She's German. She's very strict. She has her on a tight leash. She's a brat, so she hates her family because she's having to take care of her family, you know, and she has these delusions of becoming a star, but then she also has these also weird sexual violent delusions, and so there's just so much like underlying, but that's pretty much her origin. So she's on this farm. She sneaks off. She meets the projectionist, whose name is also ironically Howard. So it kind of leads you to believe like this is a story of Pearl and Howard.
Like this is Howard,
you know, because Howard, of course, is her husband from X.
In X, yes.
So you really kind of go into it thinking like you can assume the direction of the film. You know what I mean? And it also kind of makes Howard seem almost like that Howard or that projectionist, it almost kind of sets him up to be kind of sleazy, you know, because he's like he's trying to lure her into the theater, and he like shows her like a stag film, which is like an old porno, you know, from back in the day, and so it's kind of like, oh my god, this guy's gonna traffic the shit out of her or something like that, and that kind of just feeds these delusions and kind of feeds this like hate for her home life, you know, and then she also has a boyfriend named Howard who's off to war, which is obviously the Howard that we know, that we come to meet. But going into that, fucking Pearl ends up somehow along the way. I want to say Pearl lights her mom on fire, or they get into a fight. Mom is on fire. Gave me Hereditary vibes.
Oh, for sure. Seeing the body standing up on fire.
I was like someone's gonna turn that into a GIF later. But yeah, mom is on fire. She dumps her in the basement just to like leave her for dead.
Mm-hmm.
Dad is obviously horrified, but he cannot say anything because he is paralyzed. Pearl brings homeboy back, kills him. So whatever. She goes to audition for this
church dance.
what was
group,
it? Yeah,
I
like a
guess, kind
dance
of?
troupe or something.
Dance,
Like
a
a
traveling
traveling
dance
dancers.
team.
Yeah, she is giving, and then they pretty much tell her like, "No, you're not.
Not what we're looking for.
You're not blonde haired,
Right,
blue eyed."
right.
And she's like, "I'm a star," and that was like that was the
part was
cringiest shit.
The worst. The secondhand cringe, like
Did they ever
embarrassment for her.
establish if she was even good? Because I remember in the first movie, she was talking about how like she was trying to tell the girl, which is played by the same
Yeah.
person, that she
Yeah.
once
Maxine.
was a star.
Yeah, and
And
yeah,
Oh, that she used to be a star.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's just her delusion. I think that she was
No.
like, I was a star.
Yeah.
Like,
truly, and I think that's kind of one of those things like it like I did not I didn't understand that until after I kind of thought about it, because when I was watching Pearl, I was just kind of like, so like she's gonna get picked.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
she's gonna go off and
like,
do
you know,
something. Something's gonna happen. She's gonna end
Yeah.
up back at the farm.
Yeah, or like she's gonna find some way to get out there,
Mhm.
but it just kind of further proves like Pearl never made it, and she was just that delusional.
Yeah.
God,
She was literally just that delusional, you know. And it
And the-
kind of it's like those like narratives, how they kind of balance each other from each film is like with the projectionist Howard showing her like a porno, you know, and talking about how it's going to be like the future of cinema, takes us back to the filmmaker from X who was talking about it's the future of
The
cinema.
same thing, yeah.
And it's almost like when Pearl is watching Maxine fuck in the barn, it's like, well, shit, if I would have done porn, I would have been a star.
I could have been a star.
You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
and
I
that
coulda,
kind of
yeah.
it fuels that hate in Pearl and X. So I think it's just really cool how it kind of just fuels that fire. You
Yeah.
know, like if I were to watch X, I think I would just like it even more because
Because now you have that little.
knowing how
backstory
fucking
too.
crazy this bitch is. Yeah. So but it took me a while to really think about that, especially today, like just like really making these notes. I was like, damn, there's like a lot of like things that were like toe to toe with each movie that like, I feel like each character had like their twin.
Yeah,
in
for
Most
sure.
The
definitely.
And I think
opposite
like
film.
a reoccurring theme all through Pearl is definitely how she does not want to end up being her mom.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the movie, she is exactly what her mom was.
yeah.
And we know she's destined to just continue on that path until it is exactly like her mom.
Exactly. And today I was like, you know, reading reviews and like listening to reviews, and I want to say one of the lines that her mom has said is like, we accept the life that we're given, or like the life that we have to live, you know, like pretty much
Yeah.
saying like just make the best of your situation type shit. And so obviously Pearl loses her shit, does not get famous from being in a dance troupe. She kills her sister-in-law because her sister-in-law did get picked for this dance troupe. She pretty much accepts that like she fucked herself and she is not going to get these opportunities. So she makes the best of her situation and goes fucking crazy on that farm until Howard comes home.
Until Howard comes in and sees the most fucked up welcome
How
party.
was that those smile end credits? That was
that was
terrifying.
I in my head was imagining how much like mental toll it would have taken on Mia Goth to actually film that scene, and it's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
I feel like I would have gotten dizzy.
Oh yeah, I'm
I would
sure
have
she
seen. I would have seen spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. I would really hope that this movie gets recognized for anything, this or X, in any type of awards. You know, like
I think she should get looks
it's such a role.
yeah, for her performance, Mia Goth, and especially in Pearl. I
Yeah.
mean, she was good in X, but I think she took it to another level in Pearl.
Most
For
definitely.
sure.
It felt a lot more detailed,
Mhm.
in-depth story with
Yeah.
Pearl versus X. You know, X felt quick. It felt like fast-paced versus
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's so
A lot more
it's so
slowed down,
sleazy
you know?
too. Like X is
Yeah.
like such a sleazy film. It's supposed to be like quick cuts,
Yeah.
sex, blood, killing. Like
Right.
Pearl's more
Yeah.
of a story. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, and I think that's kind of why like I really can't like compare it to being like a slasher, even like just a straight horror movie, because it's so much story that's being told and like so much buildup. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then there's really not a lot of killing, and as soon as it happens, it's almost like super quick, and we don't necessarily like learn much more about her other than how she started killing people.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the only thing we really know about her, and then it just kind of cuts to X,
To X,
obviously.
yeah.
You know,
And I don't think it's definitely not like the fact that they use Mia Goth in both movies, if you're looking at it from someone that doesn't know anything, you could just see Mia Goth carry through all 3 movies in chronological order.
Yeah.
As maybe Pearl goes off and becomes that porn star, and then by
well, apparently that's what
movie,
Maxine is supposed to be. Maxine is supposed to be pretty much a few years after the X massacre or whatever. And I guess I don't know if she becomes a star or if she's still just trying to reach it, but she's going to be in Hollywood. Yeah.
So in like a fucked up way, you could look at it as Pearl leaving and going off to do the porn stuff that she could have done with Howard the Projection.
Interesting.
Jesus.
Not to jump back, but actually your point about how we kind of like accept what the life we're given. I noticed that, when Howard comes home, it's pretty much that same exact narrative for him. Because even in X, I mean, he was seen helping her.
Yeah, he's helping her. Yeah, by the time X
even
rolls
though
around.
He's shocked when he gets home, he still accepts that life.
He's like, well.
Continues to.
Yeah.
It's a love story, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so Pearl is a film of accepting your fate, just kind of accepting the card that's dealt to you. X is about not accepting a life that you don't deserve. Or what is her line? I do not accept a life I don't deserve. With her Coke. But poor Howard. I think he's the true victim of both films so far. Roy, what did you think about X? I know you loved it at the time.
Yeah, man, it was really something different that I didn't expect to see.
I thought it was really progressive.
Yeah, sure. If you want to, I mean, progressive as far as just how slashers go. I thought it was just really cool. Yeah, I mean, you guys look at it differently. I just thought it was a cool movie. I just was like, damn, and then you explained this before it even came out, and I was like, damn. I mean, it's very A24 if you ask me.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And I feel like Pearl definitely was not my favorite, but it was just such a well-made film. It just. Yeah, I know.
I'm a big Mia Goth fan now. I never knew about her.
I loved her. I really liked her in Suspiria. I didn't like the Suspiria remake, but I did like her in the movie.
Shout out to her and Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, there was a movie called A Cure for Wellness, which
I still have not seen that.
The movie too much, but she was amazing.
She was a young girl, huh?
Yeah, she was good in that one.
I couldn't like her at that point, but later on,
at that point, no.
Yeah.
Performance-wise.
Have you guys heard her voice in real life?
The British accent?
She has like a heavy British accent.
She sounds like
I'm just kidding.
Minnie Mouse or something. Yeah.
Is she dating who's the guy that played Batman? What's that guy's name? Robert Pattinson? I think she may be dating Robert Pattinson. Yeah, I saw a bunch of pictures.
With Shia LaBeouf no more?
No, I don't
She's not with her baby daddy.
I don't think anyone's with Shia LaBeouf anymore.
He's reformed.
No, I saw him on a podcast. He was like apologizing.
Yeah, it's
about,
yeah.
John
all the
Berthold
women or something that he dated.
That's a good podcast.
That is a good one.
It is a good one.
Yeah. I saw it on TikTok. He was crying and pretty much saying that he changed. Good for him. Good for him.
Did Pearl have credits of Maxine?
The only credits they showed were the little teaser of like the little Hollywood sign, and it's like the Maxine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real 80s
I was real
vibe.
pissed, honestly, because we waited till afterwards. And I was like,
I waited
saw that on
too.
Twitter.
It's
I waited too because I never waited to see the end credit for X, which I guess was the teaser for Pearl, and so I guess I thought I was gonna see something like. Yeah, it was the same shit I saw on Instagram like 2 days earlier. I was like, damn.
We did the same thing because that's the same thing with X. I did not wait. And then I heard about it and I was like, damn, I missed out.
Yeah.
But
no, Pearl, fucking great. Chef's kiss.
I felt like Pearl was a
A24.
lot more. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm going to do it again.
I felt like Pearl was a lot more progressive than X. In a way. I know X was pretty much in your face, that way, but I felt like Pearl was more of like a women's empowerment, sort of film. Even though it was, her demise, it was more like, look at me, look what I can achieve. I don't know.
But she doesn't achieve anything.
She killed a lot of people.
Well, she kills. Yeah, she does kill a lot of people.
She achieves her taste for murder.
So Pearl, Pearl was just already sick. She was gonna kill. She was a killer to begin with.
I mean,
no matter what.
Like literally, even before she lost her shit, she was like killing farm animals, and she was like
she was already
fucking
psychopath.
scarecrows.
Yeah.
The
scarecrow.
There's that scene.
Yeah, there's the scarecrow scene.
Yeah, she's like on her little bike, and she like sees it. So she goes with the crops, and then she's like dancing with it, like, okay, I get it, you're lonely. And then she like shows really how lonely she is. Yeah, that was. There are a lot of drawn out moments, and I think maybe it's on purpose because it made me uncomfortable watching that.
For sure.
The dance thing, her monologue to Mitzi when she was pretty much confessing how she like had a miscarriage and she was happy, but she's also like,
that was the wildest scene.
That was
an
amazing scene.
Like it was true word vomit, and like she just kept going and going and going and going. Like, and that was like those like really like long camera angles were like insane. Like I remember like
makes you feel like you're right there. Like
it was like that long angle on her while she was like talking, and it wouldn't pan away, and you like want her to shut up so bad, and it's just, and like I just want to see like what this other girl's face looks like so bad. Like she's just so shook, you know, and just really like well thought out moments, like really like well structured. Ew, there's a fucking bug on my paper. Sorry, I just flicked that towards you.
Yeah, now it's
no disrespect. I'm like, no. I'm sorry. I panicked. I'm so sorry. Fuck, what was I saying? What was I saying before I disrespected you?
So I know for sure, like, Maxine obviously isn't out yet, but when it is out, would you still watch them in order, like the order that it came out? Like, would you put X first and then watch Pearl and then Maxine?
That's like the Star Wars question. Like,
exactly.
do you start from episode 4 or episode 1? I honestly think watching X without watching Pearl is going to be better because you don't fully know what's going on and you don't know exactly who Pearl is. So I think if I had to pick, I think I'd still do X and then Pearl, and then we'll see how Maxine is because it could switch all the way around. Who knows? I honestly think it would be a really cool build up to start at Pearl.
Yeah, just so you can see the whole thing.
To start at Pearl, to kind of see how crazy she is, to see her elderly, to see her meeting Maxine and bringing her into the house and telling her about her past and being like, no, she's fucking lying.
She's lying. To you.
And, you know, just knowing like what is going to happen to these people once you kind of know like her past and shit like that. I think I think in the future, I'm going to watch this from
start to finish.
From Pearl.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with that.
Yeah. And I want to say, when I was really looking into X when we reviewed it back in March, Ty West's intention is for this to be a very, very, very long movie.
Like one very long movie.
I think he is in. I want to say I read it somewhere online that it was meant to be like that.
Yeah. Like one huge movie.
Yeah, but I mean, I also feel like they're all going to be like really good standalones too. So it really doesn't matter. Like they're just going to complement because they're not even like the same styles.
Yeah, exactly.
Of movies either. So I'm curious to see how they film Maxine and like what their vibe is going to be. I know.
Do you ever think you would get to a point where you would want to go see a 6-hour long movie? Because I know that even the new Avatar is going to be 6 hours.
Is it really?
Yes. So
it's
good to come in
part 2?
Yeah, part 2.
Fuck.
Shoot.
I didn't know that.
Not in theaters.
I'll be asleep.
I mean, I probably would. The only time I've really come close to that is I went to this thing at Alamo Draft House called Dismember the Alamo, and it was 4 movies back to back. Yeah, I got there late at like 7:00, and I still was there at like 1 a.m. I left at 1.
I couldn't do it, man.
Yeah, I was walking out at 1 because I was falling asleep during the last movie.
Shouts out Alamo. I love Alamo, but my pocket hurts thinking about being there that long.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm getting drinks the whole time.
Was that long? I mean, was it Endgame? How long was the Endgame runtime?
2.5 hours, probably.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
it was 3.
Even this last, I know you haven't talked about it yet, but even Terrifier was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, Terrifier was like 2.5 hours.
I felt like I was there.
Honestly, that's kind of like overkill. We're gonna review fucking Terrifier here soon, okay? But because I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, no, that's kind of like really long for a movie like that.
For us, like a straight slasher film.
Yeah, because like can you tell me how long the first Terrifier was? I want to say it was pretty lean. It was like an hour.
Probably one of those like 90-minute movies.
Yeah. The first one.
I thought it was like maybe in the like short film category just because of how
1 hour and 26 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's fair.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
Did you ever see All Hallows Eve?
I haven't. I know that's supposed to be like his origin or whatever.
That's like his first movie. Yeah.
It's an anthology.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
That's what Ty West too for anthology films. He worked on the first VHS, which is probably my favorite anthology
Kobe
film.
just put me on a VHS. That shit is crazy.
That is insane. Have you seen all of them?
I have not. We
watched the first and
right?
second. Well, you didn't see the whole second one, but
yeah,
the second one I think has I think that one has the best.
Is that the one with like the Asian, like the school thing?
The cult one.
I think it was the first one I didn't see or I didn't finish.
Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. That one's my favorite one out of both the two movies, but I think the first movie as a whole is a
that first one's a trip. That first one's a trip. I've seen all of them except this most recent one that came out.
The viral one.
Yes,
yeah,
I haven't seen that one. Or the 1994 one. Now that I'm looking.
That's the latest one.
Okay, so I haven't seen that one.
That one came out last year.
I haven't seen that one either.
No, I have seen Viral. That's the one with the skateboarders.
Yeah, I don't really like that one too much.
Yeah,
damn, there's a lot of them.
Really that good.
It said VHS 85 is going to be coming out. I don't even.
It'll get my views eventually.
Yeah, I'll get my eyes on it eventually.
Hell yeah. You said y'all watched the new Hellraiser?
Yes. Yeah, we did. We just actually, right before we came here, we finished it.
I watched that last night, man.
What'd you think?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it. Have either one of y'all checked it out yet? Bradley forgot.
No.
Hellraiser?
The new one?
No, I've never seen it.
Have you seen the original?
No.
Oh, you got to watch the original.
Honestly,
too.
The original's pretty badass.
And I will say, okay, so like the original, I really, really love it. Just, it's a classic. It's a really cool, just body horror film, supernatural horror film. But I don't really care for the franchise enough. Like I've seen 2 and 3. After that, we kind of talked about how they
kind of
really
sharp.
Is this how she looks?
No.
Oh.
I was like, I'm gonna go read.
Damn.
Wait a minute. That's how she looks.
That's how she looks.
Right here?
Yeah.
Real fleshy. Yeah.
The Cenobites, the designs of the new Cenobites, pretty cool.
Yeah, like they're just kind of like slightly redesigned. Like that's how Pinhead is as well.
Was it just me, or did she seem like more cold than the first one, like the original?
Yeah, I almost feel like the original Pinhead had like a little more empathy, if that makes sense. And maybe that's just Doug Bradley. I think that's his name.
Yeah, the original.
I think maybe that's just him as an actor. But yeah, I almost find myself like, Pinhead's not a bad guy. Not a bad person. No. And like this Pinhead is like, bitch. The throat needle thing was like, oh my God. Yeah. That was awful. Roy, there's a scene. There's a character named Nora. Okay, we're just going to do a quick review on Hellraiser.
Just jump into it.
So,
Let's do it.
It's fresh on the mind still.
Yeah. No, so pretty much there's a character named Riley. She is, what is she, like an addict?
Yeah, a recovering addict. I think both, honestly, because they brought up both of them.
She's troubled. And she's trying to stay clean.
Got some demons.
Yes. She's living with her brother's boyfriend, and they have a friend named Nora.
Progressive.
Yes. Yes. Pretty much her dude that she's with at the time, they're complaining about how she's broke. He tells her that they can break into a shipping container to see what's in it. They break in it. They find the Pandora's box thing. She fucks with it. A little thing pops out. I think she goes to a park to like die or something. And then her brother finds her, cuts himself on the box, and her brother gets taken by the Cenobites. So this whole movie is centered around them trying to find her brother. And she's pretty shitty actually for most of the film. Like she's not a good person because she cuts people with this box unintentionally, and she's like, anyways, like every time. Yeah, and it wasn't until like the 4th or 5th death that she like realized like what was going on, like what she was doing. But yeah, no. So pretty much there's a kill. It's this girl named Nora. She also gets stabbed by this box, by one of its configurations, and just the way that she dies is awful. But essentially the Cenobites take her, they have her like bent like a U backwards, and then she's like pleading to God, or she's wanting salvation, and Pinhead like takes like a fucking pin from her head, and she like puts it like in like the ball of her throat, and it's just like wiggling it around. Yeah, and this girl's making the nastiest sounds.
Yeah, the guttural like. Yeah.
Like it was truly like it made me squirmy. All that to say, I really, really liked this movie, and it put a lot more backstory than any of the other Hellraisers have. I feel like Hellraiser, the original franchise, was really built on like each movie. You got a little more information about it, versus this one was just pretty much it cut to the chase, and it was still really well made, but it pretty much was like, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
These are the configurations and what they achieve, and this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. It made like the barrier of entry to the franchise a little easier.
Yeah.
If that's the first one you're saying, you know, kind of the gist of it. But if you just see Hellraiser, there's so much stuff that you're like, okay, why did that happen?
There's
what
just so much to unpack. Even in the first movie, there's just so much that's really just like left unexplained. But even when I was like, because I kind of did like a soft Google on Hellraiser 22 today, and it almost made me want to read Clive Barker's novel.
Yeah. What is the...
It's called
Hellbound Heart.
Yes.
Yeah, Hellbound Heart.
And it's just a really cool
That's an awesome name.
Yeah.
That book's been on my list for years.
Yeah, this movie in particular, and just like kind of looking into it, really made me want to start reading those novels.
Yeah.
And I think after that, I will be like a true, like I'll get sucked into the Hellraiser franchise, even the bad ones.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch all 11 of them.
Yeah,
there's a shitload of them.
This was the 11th film in the franchise.
That's what I read. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about
The Night House is not even The Night House isn't even a Hellraiser movie. It just involves people.
Yeah, well, so
around.
The director of the new Hellraiser directed Night House.
One?
I think that's why it's popping up.
Night House is really good.
Night House is good too. Yeah, that's another one we just watched. Well, I guess you didn't catch all of it.
I fell asleep, so I gotta
if you get a chance to
it.
watch that one,
that one is super good actually. Too.
That's a crazy story. I went into that one blind. That was pretty good.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah.
I think the biggest comparison between the two, I think the Cenobites, regardless of whether they're villains or not, I feel like they forced at least one person within each movies to be the villain instead of themselves, and I think that was the biggest comparison between the two.
Yeah.
The biggest person I saw.
And then it was cool at the very end to see like the transformation from someone into presumably a Cenobite at the end was super cool.
Yeah, like that guy literally. Yeah, no, that was kind of ugly. That was really like awful.
And I think when his mouth like peeled back and you saw his teeth.
Oh, he had no lips.
Little shout out to Chatterer was my favorite. He's my favorite Cenobite.
Yeah.
The original.
Yeah, no. So I'm pretty sure that I read that they're going to continue this on.
Oh, okay.
So I think we will see more of these films, hopefully. And I want to say this was sparked because of the success of Halloween in 2018.
Yeah,
so
like the reboot of everything.
Yeah. And then not that it really matters, but I thought this was kind of cool. Because you said progressive, somebody said progressive. Jamie Clayton is who's playing Hellraiser or Pinhead.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think a woman playing Hellraiser was that on purpose?
Oh well, I think this is a very clever choice. Jamie Clayton is actually trans.
Interesting.
So the question is Pinhead male or female?
Well, then your friend on the Texas Con said that in the books it's a female.
I think
Pinhead was a female in the
female.
book.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. But no. So this person is trans. So it kind of, I maybe that was intentional because in the films, Pinhead is kind of this androgynous character that just brings pain and is just pretty much a puppet for whatever, is going on. But I thought that was really interesting. She killed it though. She killed it as Pinhead.
Yeah, it was a great Pinhead.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know why. I kind of thought like sometimes I think like, okay, anti-feminist here. I'm really not. Sometimes I feel when roles are like gender switch. Sometimes they kind of like overdo it with like the female thing.
Like trying to.
And I'm kind of like. No, but no, this was not like that at all. It was really, really well done. And it's a well-made film. And that girl who plays Riley, she was an awesome actress, even though she was shitty.
Even though she was a shitty person.
She was so shitty.
But that's good that we're all sitting here like, oh, I hated her. Like, she was shitty. That means her performance was good,
but she was such a good actress. Yeah.
I feel like they're doing that a lot lately, especially with, what's the one where they had Harley Quinn? And Suicide Squad. Okay. I feel like that was a great movie, the original one. Or not the original, I'm sorry, the first one. And I felt like it was just because of Harley Quinn's character. But then they brought back Birds of Prey.
I hated Birds of Prey.
Was terrible.
Yeah.
It was so cringy because it was
forced.
It was so like girl power.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like dog no. Like
are you talking about the Suicide Squad with Will Smith? That's the very first one that came out, right?
Right.
Without
Jared Leto and all that?
Yeah, with Jared Leto and all that.
With Jared Leto, yes.
You like that one?
I liked it because of Harley Quinn's story.
Okay.
I didn't like. I guess I didn't like the second one, the Birds of Prey.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a mental note there for later.
Yeah. We'll discuss it on the way home.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But I think that wraps it up for Pearl review. I'll probably bring y'all back for Maxine if y'all want.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
sure.
Whenever that comes out. I'm pretty sure
Maybe
that'll be
their day
out.
one, I'm sure.
Yeah. early 2023. But hell yeah. So where can they reach y'all at?
Oh shoot! Yeah,
You're like, we gotta plug
Yeah, we have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So we got a podcast titled Culture Vultures on YouTube. Right now, that's a huge mess up on my part. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick.
He's like, you spell culture.
So follow us on Instagram. I think that's the majority of our the bulk of our content. It's going to be _culture .vultures, and it's just Culture Vultures on YouTube. So
yeah, check us out.
Thank you guys for having us.
Hell yeah. We'll be back for a little review over Barbarian, and check you later. See you at Fools and Ghouls.